What is going on, everybody? I am back today to talk about a little indie film that I had not heard a whole lot about. I saw a couple people post about it online, and the brief little snippets I read from reviews really intrigued me. And I saw, after looking into the movie a little bit more, that it starred Greg Turkington, who I'm a huge fan of from projects like On Cinema, At the Cinema with Tim Heidecker. I just think that he's really hilarious, and he's a really talented actor. And I was also really excited to see Jeremy Allen White from The Bear was also in this movie, and so both of those things got me very excited to watch this film. And the movie I'm going to be discussing with you today is Fremont. Fremont is directed by Babak Jalali. Donya, a lonely Afghan refugee and former translator, spends her 20s drifting through a meager existence in Fremont, California, shuttling between her job writing fortunes for a fortune cookie factory and sessions with her eccentric therapist. Donya suffers from insomnia and survivor's guilt over those still left behind in Kabul as she desperately searches for love. So, as I said, didn't know a whole lot about this movie before I went in to watch it, and I thought this was great. I really enjoyed it a lot. It's a very simple, stripped down movie that is all about the visual style and presentation and the performances. This isn't like a heavy handed drama. I feel like so many times when you watch a movie, especially when it's about someone immigrating to the United States who has dealt with a lot of issues and struggles or has been subjected to violence, that there's always this really overblown, heavy feeling of drama. And those things are intense. They go through a lot, but it was interesting to watch a film like this that explores the idea of survivor's guilt and dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder, dealing with depression, insomnia, those things through a very realistic lens. It feels like you can just put yourself in this character's shoes and see how they're feeling and utilizing those really intense emotions that people feel, but also having a relatable element where other people who may not have experienced something that severe can understand those ideas of depression and anxiety and PTSD and people that have overcome things in their lives. And I really liked the stripped back simplicity of the film, and I'm excited to tell you about it today. So the plot description really broke it down very, very well. Our lead character, Donya, works at a fortune cookie factory where all the fortunes are hand typed and they make the cookies there and they stuff the cookies there, and she works there with a friend of hers. The two of them have a lot of conversations through the film that are relatively comical. She lives at home in this apartment complex where a lot of Afghan people also live, and her life is very lonely. You can tell from early on in the film she suffers loneliness. She has a difficult time dealing with being alone. She goes to this restaurant every night and eats where she's friendly with the waiter, and her routine is pretty much doing the same thing over and over again. And the entire film is she ends up going to a therapist played by Greg Turkington, and they have several meetings together and they have discussions about her life. And it's also about her wanting to find some form of connection and wanting to stop this feeling of emptiness and loneliness. And it is really just that simplistically. And there's a lot of things I love about this movie. First off, the lead actress who plays Donya is incredible. She gives a brilliant performance, definitely up there with one of my favorite performances of the year. And the reason for that is how much nuance is in her performance. There's so much that she is able to do with facial expressions and bodily movements. And I talk about that a lot in my reviews. And there is something to me that is so much more impressive about an actor who can really just pull your attention and keep you focused and really convey a wide array of emotions simply through facial expressions and bodily movements. And that is what impressed me so much about her performance in this film. She's clearly someone who is going through a lot. As we learn through the film, she was a translator in Afghanistan, and all she wanted was to get out. She was sick of being over there. She didn't want to be there anymore. And so she's going through these very heavy, guilty emotions about her entire family still being in Afghanistan, and them just probably feeling like she's a traitor and feeling like she's a terrible person for leaving the country that they live in. And she's trying to make a life for herself, and she gets this job that is a very unique job at this fortune cookie factory, And you can just see every single night she has these moments where she's sitting in her apartment and the camera just lingers on her in this space. And the entire film is shot in black and white, and it's in this very boxy aspect ratio. And what I really like about that is a lot of times when directors choose to shoot in that boxy aspect ratio, it can just be for aesthetic purpose. And this didn't feel like that. I really feel like it was meant to kind of create claustrophobia and isolation for this character. They feel very alone. They feel like there's no one on the planet that they can connect with. And I think putting us in a space that finds our attention to very specific areas was really impressive, and it really added to the feeling and emotions that the movie was trying to convey. This movie is darkly comedic. There's a lot of really deadpan jokes that are delivered that I was really impressed with. They reminded me of like kind of a mixture of like Wes Anderson and Jim Jarmusch and even a little Yorgos Lanthimos spread throughout there, where it's just like every character in this film really has a very flat dialogue delivery. I like that. I like that tone. And I think that it really allows for you as a viewer to kind of put yourself in this character's shoes. As I said, I'm a huge fan of Greg Turkington. He's hysterical in this. He does a phenomenal job as the role of the psychiatrist. Jeremy Allen White is not in this movie for very long, but for the moments that he is in the movie, he is incredibly effective. He's slowly becoming one of my favorite actors. Every time I see him in something, it's always incredibly impressive to me, and this was no exception. He was fantastic. And the movie is really just a meditation on all of those things I discussed and trying to find a silver lining amidst a really dour and depressing situation. And I know I mentioned Wes Anderson and Yorgos Lanthimos, but a lot of this film did remind me of Jim Jarmusch. I was thinking of Patterson at moments through this movie where it's just very slice of life realism, someone dealing with something very heavy and trying to find solutions for that. And it just is really effective in its simplicity. I think there's some pacing issues in it. There's some moments that could be tidied up a little bit to make the film a little bit more effective, but I think it does accomplish exactly what it sets out to. And I'm really glad that I got around to watching this movie. I think it's really well made and there's a lot you can pull from it. And if you get the opportunity to check this one out, I'd 100% recommend it. It's really great. So have you seen Fremont? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was really good. I very much enjoyed myself watching this film, and I'm really looking forward to rewatching it again in the future. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.